Hi guys, welcome back. All right, Taurians, let's go ahead and take a look at what is there to wrap up before the end of the year. And then also we're going to do a little North Node in Taurus message. Now, this does not mean that you have a North Node in Taurus, right? You would have to check your placement in your birth chart to figure out where your North Node is. So you might watch the first part of this video, but then when I get to the North Node, segment, if your North Node is in Aries or something, then you'll have to bounce over to the Aries video. And the reason I'm doing this, if you guys have watched my channel any length of time, you know I've always been more intrigued by North Node and South Node placements than Sun, Moon, Rising placements. I just find it intriguing. I always have. And so with that in mind, last night I did a video where the North Node card came up and I said, you know what, let's go ahead. That's a sign, I think, that we should do a little North Node tip of the hat today. I will be doing all zodiacs today, and tonight it'll just take me kind of most of the day and some of the night to get them done. So just bear that in mind. But with that in mind, I will make sure that that video from last night where the North Node card came up is coming up at the end of your screen. I think it was a collective message, if I remember correctly. So in any case, those will be on the end of your screen at the end of this if you want to see why we're doing a North Node anyway. But for the first part of this video, let's just do Taurus. And this is going to be for, you know, Sun, Moon, Rising. What needs to be wrapped up by the end of the year? 4 of Cups, 7 of Cups, the Chariot. So anything that has been confusing, disappointing, filled with illusions, anything that's been uncertain, it says, go get the answer to it. Don't let it be illusions. Or if something has been disappointing and we still don't know why, it's like, well, let's get stable in our emotions about something. There are things in life that are disappointing, but are we making too much of something that's a disappointment? You know, sometimes it's tempting to say, oh my gosh, I broke up with somebody. We weren't that great when we were together, but now that we've broken up, I'm like, man, were they the best thing that ever walked in my life? How come we didn't end up together? You know, how come they did this or that? When it's like, but is it something that a character really, really wants in their life? Or is it just something that's been, you know, a bit of a query? I mean, it's great to have answers, but either put in effort to get the answer or let something go. Because maybe something that was confusing never really was anything but an illusion. So it's like separate illusion from like things that are more real by figuring out, am I seeking an answer still, or is it time to let this go and say, look, I have no idea. I'm not the one that was confused. It was the other person. That's a them issue, so I can move on. Or is it me that needs to get an answer? And am I actually seeking answers, or am I just living in this murky, you know, feeling of disappointment? And is the disappointment real or not? It's nice to figure out what is worthy of our precious resources to either seek an answer. Like, hey, if we just wanted to talk to somebody and we think about it every single day, but we never call them, maybe it's a good time to say, I'm just going to go ahead and pick up the phone and call this person and say, hey, listen, I don't know if you were upset with me or not. I sure hope not. I've been worried that you were, because I haven't heard from you. And I never didn't mean to offend you. So, but I can't help it. I've been losing sleep over it, wondering if you got mad at me or if I said something unintentionally that hurt you. You know, it's like, that's one of those things that like, so much easier to just ask somebody the question than to let it linger and keep you up at night. We have the 5 of Swords in the reverse. I don't think that there is conflict or fight at all. This doesn't look like it's something negative. If anything, I think maybe this is one of those situations where Taurus, I don't know if Taurus was dealing with a water sign. We have a lot of emotions. We have a lot of water at the beginning, and then we finally get to some sword energy. So I'm thinking that there was something very emotional that Taurus either needs to, you know, go right through the emotions, or they need to say, wait a second, is this a big nothing burger? This might not be any big deal at all. Let's not spend too many, you know, nights or days ruminating on something that really is at the end of the world. See, Taurus gets to turn all their attention, full attention, to manifesting something else. I think Taurus has way better things to do with their time than worrying or fretting about whether or not someone else is content or worrying or fretting about whether or not this is, is this confusion? Did I say something wrong? Look, if Taurus wasn't trying to be rude to somebody, and somebody still took it wrong, everybody has a right to be offended, even if they're not correct about it. Sometimes people just get offended over nothing. And they can act like that if they want to, but it's not Taurus's job to run around and try to, become their doormat for them to wipe their feet on because they're having a snit or a bad day. But I almost think it could have been something like that, because this is like Taurus wondering, should I be worried? Did I offend? Or did I do something that I don't think Taurus intended to be rude at all? This says that there really is no drama. And this says the sooner Taurus can let go of the fret or the worry, the more they can put their energy toward their own future and manifesting really good stuff. Worrying about things, I don't think anything depletes us more than that, right? It makes it so you're not in your present or being able to look at your future, only stressing about something that, you think you said or did. Everybody puts their foot in their mouth sometimes, but we got to give each other grace. We have the moon in the reverse. That moon in the reverse, I do think that Taurus is aware that it is time for them to take some pressure off of themselves. I think that they know until they stop worrying about this, they're not really going to be able to just move on. It's kind of, maybe it sounds a little bit rude, but it's kind of like Taurus is at that point where they need to say, you know what? I didn't try to hurt anybody's feelings. I know nothing that I said or did was intended to be rude. If I missed out on an opportunity, hey, hopefully it landed in somebody else's hands. If something that I said made somebody not want to reach out to me again, look, I did everything I could to make sure that I operate within my creed that I believe in operating as. And I can't always prevent everybody from getting upset with me, no matter how nice or generous I try to be. So let myself make peace with it and move on. That's how I think this message is. Because if Taurus doesn't let themselves move on, it's going to prove to be a major blockage in them manifesting what they want next. Worrying about a past action needs to be let go of. 6 of Pentacles upright. Yeah, this is awesome. There's more success that Taurus has to be able to be 100% in with the next, either maybe this is a situation, since we got a lot of Pentacles here, where Taurus worries that they blew a business opportunity or they blew an interview or something like that. This just says, yeah, there's other jobs out there. Trying to sleuth out, did I say something wrong? Did I not get the job for this reason or that? Did Taurus, come in and give the best of themselves? Then Taurus aced that interview. Maybe the company wasn't really hiring. Maybe, the company ended up not being able to move forward with anyone. Maybe they hired their grandson, who knows? Maybe they outsourced the very job they thought they were going to hire for. Lots of things happens. But I just think we don't always get the answer, but we don't need to sit and stress and worry. What if I wasn't enough? What if I did it wrong? That feels like all illusions. I think Taurus has given everything in their life their best shot. And as soon as they just make peace with that and say, I'm going to keep giving everything my best shot. I'm going to go after everything because that's the only way I can operate, whether it's love, whether it's business, whether it's interviews, you name it. I'm going to give it my best moving forward, as I always have, and not fret if I don't always get the call back or if somebody doesn't always pick me. I think that the best thing is that if Taurus operates that way, with this 6 of Pentacles, it says Taurus is headed right into massive success. There is somebody who wants Taurus on their team. This could be a lover. This could be a friend. This could be literally a team, softball team or something, basketball team, whatever. This could be a business, judgment. This is actually, oh my God. So Taurus might be hearing from somebody from their past. The very person Taurus has been stressed out over. Remember, we started out with all that water energy? There could be a Scorpio that's all this worry that Taurus has had. This Scorpio might be reaching out to Taurus to ask Taurus back. And Taurus has been fretting all this time about, okay, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if I'm getting the call back. I don't know if this was about a lover. I don't know if this person still wants to hash things out with me and make peace and maybe still try out a relationship. But this kind of says if Taurus stops fretting so much and gets their energy focused more on what they want for their own life, their own successes. If Taurus is like, look, I got to make peace with stuff because I was the kindest I could have been. I did what I could do. I already spoke my piece. And if I don't hear back, I can let them go. This almost says that someone's going to be pursuing Taurus to course correct things. This could be right when Taurus like says, I'm at peace with whatever happens. That may be the moment that somebody calls Taurus back. And there could have been a reason. You notice that this person is shedding their own skin. You know, this isn't just about what Taurus is wrapping up by the end of this year. This is the reminder that every character is also, you know, like going through their transformations. This is a year of the snake for everybody. It's a year of change. It's a year of transformation. It's a year of hopefully conscious transformation. So if we're going to make changes in life, let's make the best change we can. Let's promise ourselves, insist to ourselves that I'm going to become a much better version of me. I just think that this could be such a great year. Knight of Wands. See, I think somebody wants Taurus back, but Taurus hasn't heard from this person, and Taurus has to stop worrying about that and make peace with, hey, let's say these cards didn't come out. Let's just say Taurus had to make peace with the idea that maybe I won't hear back from this person. It does not impede me from living an amazing life. By the way, strong Pisces here, strong Virgo and Gemini. Maybe Taurus doesn't want somebody who keeps them in the dark or confused. And that could also be Taurus is like, look, I did my best. If I don't hear from them, it sucks because it's really confusing as to why they didn't want to like patch things up or why we're not talking anymore. But you know what? I don't want somebody who leaves me in confusion anyway. So let me just manifest moving forward and nobody else that leaves me in confusion. But what's ironic is even if Taurus had to just say that's how I'm going to move forward, what's ironic is that in this story, Taurus does actually wind up hearing back from this person. It just took them a little bit more time because they were going through one of their own changes, their own transformations. This person might have come across as a player before. This could have been somebody who left Taurus with their mind spinning, like, I don't know what's going on with them. Maybe they were a player. Maybe they were passionate, but they also didn't know if they could be in a long-term relationship. Maybe that's something that they had to change a persona about. Footing in life. Nine of Pentacles. This to me, this just really looks like our Taurus. Not everything was about Taurus in this story, right? Somebody else had their own issues to get through, and Taurus was kind of being left in the dark, not knowing what was happening. And this says, Taurus, don't fret, don't worry. As this year wraps up, learn how not to make other people's problems Taurus's problems. Let other people sort out their stuff, and Taurus doesn't have to stress and worry too much about why other people are behaving the way they are. Okay, let's get anything else for this wrap up for the year. We've got the Knight of Wands in the reverse. We have the Devil, and we have the Hierophant in the reverse. Again, if Taurus has had fear that somehow they aren't clear enough or that they're misreading or that their intuition is wrong, it kind of says Taurus maybe should realize that that's just the fear talking. If they're starting to worry, like, am I not, because this is Taurus right here with the Hierophant, am I not that great? Am I not that attractive? Oh, hell no. Taurus is very sexy. Taurus needs to not start doubting their attractiveness. Taurus has beautiful features. Taurus is a gorgeous person. If they start wondering or worrying, am I not enough for somebody to be attracted to? Here's the thing. This is almost like Taurus is worrying, am I not attractive enough for a player to want to play with? Nobody wants a player to play with them. So that's not even the right question to ask. It feels like this thing could have impacted Taurus's confidence a little bit. And that's something to totally brush that off before the end of the year. Don't doubt for a moment your gorgeousness, your value, what you have to offer. Listen more to the intuition. Our intuition knows darn well. Every single person knows that they have worth and value. When we started, that is the hallmark of the devil. The devil comes in and makes us doubt the fact that we are divine and beautiful beings, when in fact we are divine and beautiful beings. So it's just a good time of the year to shed any of those worries. All right, last question here is for a Taurus North Node. Now, bear in mind, the North Node Taurus placement would be, what a character should be gravitating toward if they have a North Node in Taurus is, actually they're great with like creating abundance and revenue, and finances come easier, and they have a better relationship with ebb and flow of funds and business related things, and diligence toward building and creating things. And so sometimes that can feel stressful, but somebody who's got a North Node in Taurus, that's what they're learning to have better relationships with. So the message for the end of the year for a North Node Taurus would be Nine of Swords, Hermit, which is Virgo, and the Tower, which is Aries. It's time to not doubt one's own power, especially when it comes to communication. If Taurus is fearful of like negotiations, it's like, oh no, it's time. Some negotiations, if we really ask for what we want, will fall apart. That's true. Now, again, we're leaning more toward like a message about like business and interpersonal relationships, and looking at even a love relationship as like a negotiation. If we are stressed that if I say what I really want to somebody, if I really speak up, then it might all fall apart. So maybe I should stay silent. This challenges our character to say, but that's only going to cause our North Node Taurus person stress. Let people know who you really are, what you really need, what you really want. And then if they can't meet those needs, be okay with the fact that the negotiation could fall apart and we don't do business with that person, or we don't have that person as a lover. But if they can't match us in our own needs, and we'd always have to hide what our needs are, then we'd never be satisfied, and it wouldn't be a successful long-term thing anyway. We'd become bitter and resentful because we're not getting anything that we needed. So it's better, is what it says, to go ahead and face the stressful conversation about like, look, here's what I'm going to need to make this work for me. Can we negotiate this? Are you interested in negotiating? And if the answer is no, that's okay. Not everybody will work with us, but that's okay. Not everything is going to be for us, but that's okay. Better to have something authentic than to have something that is inauthentic. But it actually kind of looks like it could lead to much better, more open dialogue and better work relationships, because that tower doesn't mean things will fall apart and not work. It can mean that all of the stress falls away, and it's like, oh wow, okay, now we're really talking. Now we're really like negotiating this so it works for all of us. All right, I'm going to leave this here. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks for giving it a thumbs up and subscribing.